They're one of the best duos in the NBA right now. Talking about, DeMar DeRozan, who came from the San Antonio Spurs. He was already a great player back in Toronto, but I think he learned a lot from the San Antonio Spurs. Playing team ball, just sharing that basketball, using his teammates to his advantage. And when you talk about Zach LaVine, he's learned how to play with talent. The question with Zach LaVine was, he was a superstar before. He would have 40-point games, all the highlights. But the question was, can he win for Chicago? And that's what's happening right now. They're number 2 in the East. They're number 5 on defense and number 6 on offense. So I think, they're doing a great job leading this team.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And you mentioned the move from the Spurs to Chicago for DeRozan. And we're not just getting DeMar, we're getting DeMar from DeRozan. And when you look at the combination of him and LaVine together, it doesn't feel like it makes sense, at least on paper. You look at the way they play, it just feels so inefficient. But then you look at the entire roster, it shouldn't fit, at least on paper, when you look at it, when you try to analyze it before putting them together on the floor. But it just makes sense, Jegs. And when you have that working out, well, right now, watching them, it's just so fun, entertaining to watch. But do you feel that it's just all the right pieces coming together at the right time?
Well, I think so too. They have a great balance of superstars of talent and also great role players as well. We'll talk about that later. But when you talk about, being inefficient, DeMar DeRozan is proving all these analytics wrong with the mid-range jumper. Yeah. He's been very efficient from it. And when you talk about Zach LaVine, he's learned how to play off-ball, some catch and shoot when DeMar DeRozan creates for his team.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about Lonzo Ball as a facilitator for the Bulls. Great court vision, good pace, elite passer with an incredibly high basketball IQ. Your thoughts on him?
Well, Lonzo Ball, he's the dictator for this team. When it comes to their pace, they play very fast pace. You mentioned it earlier. When you wake up in social media, you would see a lot of highlight dunks from Chicago, and that starts from Lonzo Ball just making that forward pass, just making the right decision. And he's also a great defender. So that's what makes Lonzo Ball a great player for the Bulls. But aside from that, he's shooting a career high from the three-point range. 42% from 3. He's learned how to play and space out for his other talented players.
Absolutely. We saw the numbers there a while ago for Lonzo Ball, Vucevic, and Alex Caruso.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, I did say Lonzo Ball. Everything I do here in the show is intentional, Diego. But then when you look at all of the names that we mentioned there, so you had Caruso, who's making all the Lakers fans sad because he's not in the Lakers anymore. And the Lakers were the ones who let him go, Diego.
Yep.
That's what's worse. He's being a plus player for the Chicago Bulls team in a way that no one could ever imagine.
Yes, when you talk about this guy, he's the X factor for this team. When you talk about Caruso, he does all the dirty work. He defends the best players on the other side, energy off the bench, just a lot of deflections, a lot of steals, leading to all the highlight plays that Chicago Bulls, all the highlight plays that we see on social media. So I think, Alex Caruso is a great player for the Chicago Bulls team.
Now let's talk about the potential of the Chicago Bulls when they're all complete, when they're all healthy, when they're all playing.
Well, Vucevic was out early parts of the season because of health and safety protocols. Caruso is out right now because of his hamstring strain.
Yeah.
And also DeMar DeRozan out for health and safety protocols. But they still, end up winning ball games, and that's a good sign for a team. When they have that next man up mentality, even if they're short 1-2 guys, they still play as a team and be able to get wins, play defense and offense, even on the road.
Absolutely. And, you have to figure out about that matchups in the East. Because the East is very competitive this year. In fact, they have a slightly better record against the West right now, though the West is starting to catch up in terms of that number. You have to take a look at their potential opponents. If ever they do make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, you look at Brooklyn, you look at Milwaukee. Is this still a team that can match up with those teams when they are also healthy? We have to assume there that maybe Kyrie does come back.
Yeah.
We have to assume that the Bucks become healthy by the time you reach the playoffs. Will they be able to match up with these guys?
I believe so. I think Chicago has the talent to really match up with Brooklyn, with Milwaukee. They actually beat Brooklyn earlier this season. I think they have the talent with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine out there doing their jobs, Lonzo Ball facilitating, Vucevic having a different weapon down low for Chicago. I think they have the talent to really match up with all these top East teams.
So the Bulls back in the 90s were the team to beat. And mid 2000s, shifting from 09, 10, they also had a great team. Yeah, D-Rose, Joakim Noah, all those guys, even Carlos Boozer at one point. And right now, is this the start of a new era of good Bulls basketball teams that we can be excited to see in the future?
Well, if they stay healthy, I think so. Zach LaVine's a young superstar. DeMar DeRozan can be, that mentor for Zach LaVine. Vucevic has, a bunch of years ahead of him. Lonzo Ball as well. So I think, they have a great future. The Bulls will be an exciting team for the years to come.